What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, girl? I said this video was gonna be out today because I had the day off. But girl, all right. First of all, let's say congratulations because the Shy has been renewed for another season. And after this episode, yeah, okay. I could be speaking a little bit too far in existence, giving my, opinion a little bit too far in because we're only 3 episodes in. Because if you don't know, this is the Shy season 7, episode 3. If this season plays out the way that I feel like it's gonna play out and the way that I need it's gonna play out now, yeah, we're gonna need a season 8. We're gonna need a season 8 because things are about to get a little hectic, okay? And I just knew. I ain't know this was finna happen, but I just knew it couldn't stay the way that it is now, okay? It was just too simple, too easy, too light. It's everything's a little bit too calm. And every time when something is calm on these type of shows, something has to come in and break that up. Okay? We get distracted by the storylines that really don't matter until the storylines that's really gonna come in and take over, they do. Okay? So we start the episode off. First of all, should have known something was going on because when you watch the episode, if you have not watched the episode and you just look at the reviews, let me tell you what happened. At the beginning, before the episode fully comes on, they do a preview, right? Everybody knows that. So they be like previously on, and then they do a little recap. So in the beginning of this episode, baby, they start doing a little recap and they pulling from season 2, season 3. I said, excuse me? Why is Reg on my TV in this preview? I'm confused. What's going on? Because the last I thought, Reg was, what they got to do? Y'all finna go visit his grave or something? Legacy or whatever? Is Victor finna turn back into Trig and all that stuff? Like, is he reverting back? What's going on? Girl, the episode start and we see somebody going to a bus stop. This lanky figure going to a bus stop with a hoodie on. And I said, tell me that's not Reg. They would not show his face at all. He's getting on the bus. He's walking down the street. He goes to an alley. He puts his bags on top of the trash. I said, nigga, like, I'd rather you put it on the floor than the trash. But put his bag on the trash. Take his hoodie off. And we still don't see his face. Baby, that was Reg. Reg popped up out of nowhere. And once he popped up, girl, I said, nigga, I thought you was dead. You mean to tell me this whole time that man got... And I was like, now how did that... the people of the Shy, how did that happen? You mean to tell me that man got 15 bullets put up in him and he didn't die? Well, niggas be doing that these days, okay? So it is very much possible. It is very much possible, okay? So I was just like, whoa. Because y'all remember it was like a big controversy as to the reason why he left the show. This was, I got bags under my eyes so bad. Oh my God, I need to put some, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta get to bed better. But no, girl, because remember Imani, who was Trig's first, or I should say Victor's first love interest that was on here, and then she left the show due to controversy that she felt was going on. She felt like, she was saying there was some discrimination and some other things that was going on behind the scenes and all of that. And so they were trying to say that Reg wound up getting fired or he left the show because he was a part of some stuff or he was, homophobic or something like that or whatever. It was something bad like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that really don't make sense given that your boss is a lesbian and not just any lesbian. She's a stud lesbian. Like, she's a masked lesbian, okay? And so I didn't pay too much. I mean, it could happen, but I just never knew. And so he did get asked about it, but he did say at one point that everything was cool. So I ain't feel nothing about it. Did I expect to see his ass back on the show years later? Absolutely not. And I feel like at this point, they needed this. This is something that the shot needed because we already got the main villain out, and that was Duda, okay? Before that, we had, oh my God, what was his name? What was Q's old boy name? Oh, because it was Q, and then it was the dude that Reg was working with or working under before he got killed, in season 1, okay? And then that's when Q old ass came into play, and he was watching everything in that house. And then that's when Reg stepped up when old boy died, or he either died or he got left. I think he died too. I think he got shot up. Either fuck away, he wasn't on the show no more. And then Reg starts stepping up, and we already knew that Reg was a problem. Okay, Reg, he do not roll. He don't do his stuff the way that Nuck do his stuff. Okay, Nuck is cold-hearted for the most part, meaning in the sense that he'll take you out if he need to take you out. But he don't give off that energy that he don't got no feelings. Like, he don't give a damn. He may feel that way, but you just don't get that from him when you first see him. Okay? But when you see Reg, we already know Reg is just hardcore street nigga to his core. Bang, 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 skeet it out. For real, for real. Like, ain't no softness here. Okay? Ain't no feelings, ain't no emotions and all that stuff. Yeah, fuck all of that. I ain't afraid to that type of shit. That's Reg. He just real rough. He real, abrasive. And Nuck is the same way, but in a different font. A more softer font, if you say so. And I'm just like, oh, shit. It's good. I can't even say it's good versus evil. It's evil versus a little less eviler. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. That's what it's about to be. And I am so here for it now, okay? Because this season, girl, I was like, so we finna be doing this all season like this? And then he popped up. And I said, what? He popped up on Jake. And the problem is, now see, he about to start some shit, bitch. He is about to start some stuff, and he about to mess up everybody's happy home. Jake and Victor already got this routine going on. They got this relationship established because at first they really wasn't on the same page because Jake was under Reg. You know what I'm saying? And Reg had him being all hostile, trying to be like his little mini-me, trying to be tough in the streets and everything. A little bully. And then when Victor comes along, he was like, yeah, you could be hard or whatever, but you ain't got to be hard all the time. Everybody ain't after you. And, he literally took care of him, and he actually showed him love, like true love. Do I feel like Reg loves his little brother, Jacob? I think so, but it's not on the level that's on, I want to protect him. It's on the level of, I love you enough to have you by my side, but if time comes to be, I sacrifice your ass if I need to, okay? And I treat you just like any other nigga. On the other hand, you got Victor, who literally protects him and wants him to do the best and encourages him to get out the street, don't do none of that stuff, and to explore his creativity. We saw when Jake told him about the fact that, he do clothes now. Oh, so you a fashionista? That's gay. What? So take off the clothes that you wear. Because the majority of the fashion people out here, if they meet, they a little gay, male or female, or male or woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't. You can call somebody gay, but yet you'll wear their clothes. You'll wear their clothes. You niggas will be so homophobic and be in Gucci, be in Versace, going out there buying Chanel and buying Givenchy, okay, Louis Vuittons. You be out here doing all of that stuff, but so quick to call somebody gay. Like, come on, all right? And I'm just sitting here like, damn, Reg. As soon as he came up into the house when he saw Victor, it wasn't no, yo, bro, what's good? Because they already had their issues. He was like, so I heard you fucking niggas now. I'm sorry. I said, what? I said, wait a minute. It's some things that you should expect, but you don't really expect at the same time. And then when you hear it, you be like, should I be truly offended? Or do it just make you want to uncomfortably laugh like I just did? I said, nigga, hello to you too, okay? Granted, we knew that they wasn't on the same accord like that. But shit, because Trig was that nigga, okay? Trig was the one that actually everybody truly feared. You know, when Victor was Trig out there in the streets, he was the one that people really truly feared. And I feel like Reg wanted to be in that position, and that's why he acted the way that he acted, and he acts out, and he tried to be so hard, try to be so non-feeling, because he wants the same respect the same way that Trig used to get. And even now, at him as Victor, he still gets that respect. You know what I'm saying? But they was about to fight because, you know, Victor punched him in the face and told him don't call him Trig and nothing like that. After he, you know, got a little homophobic with him, they started smoking and all that stuff. And basically, you know, once they do that, it was nice to see all three brothers together, though. Okay, that was really nice. But we still see that Victor is truly Jake's protector. And, you know, it's given very much. Y'all seen Jason's lyrics? Okay. Alan's Payne character is Victor. The brother, Joaquin Bowman Woodbine, that's Reg, the fuck up. Okay? And Jake, he Jada. He just there in the middle. And they pulling at him. They pulling at him. Okay? It's literally the devil and the angel on his shoulders, you know. One pulling him in one direction and one pulling him in the other direction. You know, that's what it feels like. Because at one point we also get another cameo, and what the weed man that was supplying all of the weed and stuff in the earlier seasons, that was Brandon's cousin. I believe that was his cousin, right? He's back. I said, oh my God, bitch, I ain't seen you in forever too. So he's back. And he's very much Team Reg. And it feels more so like he Team Reg because he know that motherfucker crazy as hell, and that he'll probably, you know, take him out if he need to with no questions asked, all right? So let me not cross this nigga. Mind you, Reg is here trying to get back. He said he want to get the city back because this is my motherfucking city. You know, I said, oh, okay. You don't want to take a shower? You don't want to eat something? You just want to come back and you just want to put your foot down and say, I want the mob back. I want the 63rd Street mob back. That's what I want, right? Oh, and then gonna tell Jake, you gonna lock in with me. Jake was like, listen, nigga, I ain't trying to do all that. I got my fashion stuff going on. I make money that way. He was like, you can pay rent. You have enough for after rent and all this stuff. He said, yeah, nigga, I'm good. And it was like, well, because Jake has the nerve to talk back to him and to voice his own opinion. And it's like, nigga, this is not a child anymore. Yeah, he's a young child still, but technically he's a young adult. He's like 18, 19 years old now. Okay, he can make his own decisions. He's living on his own. He's making his own money legally. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna yoke him up like a stranger on the street just because he said he didn't want to do that street shit with you like he was a kid? He not a kid anymore that you can control, and he had to assert himself and be like, guess the fuck you are. And even Brandon was sitting over there, Brandon cousin was sitting over there like, what the fuck, nigga, what you doing? It was like, you gonna lock in with me. I was like, damn. And of course, Jake, he a little scared. Jake be trying to be hard or whatever, be a little playboy. Jake is more of a playboy than a hard nigga. That's just really what it is, okay? Because he was scared. And if I had a brother or a family member like him, like Reg, bitch, I'd be scared too. Okay? So he went on ahead and did what he had to do. And they want to know where Nuck is at. Jake wound up telling him, I don't know where he stay at, but I know he be around Bakari. Bakari is his right-hand man. And I know where he stay at. And I said, well, if you know where Bakari stay at, then you know where Nuck stay at, because Bakari is staying with Nuck right about now. What? All right. And so at this point, they drive over there to the house, and Bakari opens up the door, and it was like, what Nuck at? Bakari was like, I don't know, nigga. But then they going back and forth about, you know what this nigga at and all this stuff or whatever. And Nuck gets up and comes out the room. I said, damn, Nuck, you just go. Nuck said, what the fuck you want? He was like, I'll come back to get the mob back. And I was like, man, if you don't get your bitch ass nigga up out of here and your little wimpy ass, what is his name? Brother up out of here. If y'all get y'all bitch asses out of here and all this shit. I said, oh my God, they going back and forth. He said, nigga, you gonna try and I kill your ass with a quickness. Girl, it's about to go down. I said, now listen, just when I thought he was about to find God, You about to find bullets. It's about to be flying between them two. And I'm so here for it right now. Because honestly, I kind of, I can't believe that I'm going to say this. But I kind of miss that element of a shy because in real life, that's really, I know we don't want to see, of course we want to say that Black people, our stories are not, we're not a monolith, right? We have different stories to tell. But if you start something off a certain way, you're going to have certain people that are going to continue to want that type of element because that's why they turned thin, okay? And the show did turn a little bit more positive, which I didn't have a problem with. But I also need a little action, okay? And if you want to have a show called The Shy, well, we got to be true to form. Okay, we gotta be true to form, and niggas was really out here doing that shit. Okay, so I'm all the way here for what's about to pop off, cause Reg is already just on one. Okay, moving on from that, and actually, honestly, truthfully, thoughtfully, that's really the only storyline that I am so into right now. Mind you, it just popped up today. I don't care about nothing else. I really just go ahead. Now let me talk about something that really needs to go. Again, like I said last week, Lene brother, Vic Mensa, and Lala Anthony, get them off our show. Okay, get them off our show. Granted, Vic, you Chicago down. I get you. I met you before. I never. Did I tell y'all that when I went to the Jay-Z concert, the 444 concert? That's when he came up, mind you, Jay-Z, you know what? I get it, Beyonce, because that nigga, if it was about smell good, he smelled really good. I was like, oh my God, he smelled really good. Because he walked past, because when he was going to the stage, it's one part where he was walking in the audience, and he was going to the stage. This was in the United Center years ago, okay? And he was walking past, and they had this, his people was around him or whatever, trying to, shield him a little bit, but we could touch him and all that stuff. But he walked past me, and I said, whoa, okay. He smells really, really good. Really, really good. And Vic Mensa did the same thing, right? He was outside smoking a cigarette, and we was out there talking to him. You know what I'm saying? That's how Chicago niggas are, for real, for real. Like, everybody ain't on that, trying to be niggas, okay? They be nice. They be nice. Everybody ain't mean. They be nice. And he a nice nigga, for real. But at the same time, I wish they gave him something else, okay? Because this storyline about him being with Dom, who is, I guess, and I forgot to mention this last week when all the guys got together and Vic was with them, right? And if y'all don't know who Vic is Lene's brother, okay? Yeah. He was up there. And then you had Emmett and his daddy, and they was up there talking about, oh, so you with Dom and she done moved in, and yeah, she this and she that. And they was like, what you talking about? What you talking about? Basically, you sitting in the company of two of her past lovers, okay? Like, and so now she got this reputation of being hot in the ass, and she already knows it. She knows it because now their storyline is about them wanting to abstain from sex. At least he's trying to change himself. Because, he was this bad person before he left and went to prison. And y'all know he went to jail because I think he shot Lene's stepfather or mama's boyfriend, who was being abusive or doing whatever it was to her that caused her to be over there with Kevin, mama and them. Okay. And so he went to jail because of that, right? At first he went on a run, then he went to jail. Then he got out and he found God, and he's now a Christian, a born again Christian, and he's trying to live his life right. Okay, congratulations. But a part of that is he also want to be celibate, and he don't want to have sex until he get married. And I said, now why the hell would you want to do that and then get with a person like Dime, who will open up them legs in a drop of a dime? Okay, girl, a drop of a penny. All right, not even a full penny, half of a penny. Cut that half, give her a little scrape off of it. She'd be like, bing. That's how they make her out to be. And I was just like, damn, that's kind of crazy. And she knows it. She knows it, right? They laying up in the bed talking, and he was like, you really don't want to have sex with me? He was like, no, I'm really going to do this stuff. I'm not having sex till I'm married now or whatever. It's going to be hard, because she wants some. She wants something. I said, now, how y'all gonna be up in the house together? First of all, they're not bad looking people. But I'm going to say this, and I don't want to be rude or anything. What the fuck is going on with Lala's face? Man, I noticed something was a little bit different when she was at the Met Gala this year. And it was just a little bit. Okay, I really wasn't paying that much attention, but I looked and I said, something looks different. Mind my business. I kept on rolling. Okay. But now that they doing close up on her face and everything, now that she's on the show, she looks different. What? Like, oh my God, I need y'all to stop. Stop getting these fillers and Botox. Or get one or the other, but don't get them all at the same time because y'all looking like Hootie and a Blowfish. Okay? You're looking abnormal. And Lala, wasn't nothing wrong with you, baby. You was fine. You was fine. But you know, it's whatever. It's whatever. I could deal with it. Then they wind up going to the church. And of course the sermon is about no sex till marriage, basically abstinence, okay? And of course the actual preacher, what's his name? I was about to call him Professor, Pastor Ezekiel, okay? He's the one up there giving this sermon today. Mind you, you just had a scandal last week. Now, we don't know how, well, actually, this is 6 months later because when the episode starts off, it's 6 months later. I forgot to tell y'all that. But you up there having this little sermon about, abstaining from sex, don't give it up and all this stuff. And basically, don't do temptation and all that shit. Mind you, you got Rotimi, or I should say Dre from Power, his little underling sitting up there on the stage or whatever, and he into it and all that stuff. But then he spots Tracy in the audience. Mind you, Tracy had just got through talking with Gemma. Is that not Gemma? Emmy's mama. I can't remember her name right now. Just got through talking to Emma mama, and she was talking about, you finna get back out there in the streets and, well, not back out in the streets, in the dating world. She was like, girl, I don't know how to do all that stuff, whatever. She don't know what she want to do. And it was like, you gonna want somebody to do some things? So she said, girl, I can take care of that myself. And Emma mama was like, well, I mean, that kind of gets old. Truth be told, that's true. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If she ain't ready, she ain't ready. She's still trying to get over doodah ass, right? And she won't different. So she go to the church, and while she up there in the church, them two making googly eyes at each other, like they catch each other's eyes. And she was like, oh, shit. He like, She like, So they go up there talking to each other at the end. And, Tracy, you kind of walked up there with your legs out, okay? Your calf out and all of that. And that little shirt, short skirt and everything. You came up there like a little harlot. I'm just going to tell you that. All right. That's how the church folks probably was judging you. They like, oh my God, look at this Jezebel. and Dre was like, hey, how you doing? And then he was like, oh, can I pray for you? You know what? Let me tell you something. If I was in a church like that, and I was so deep into it like that, baby, that probably would have got me. Because it was just the way that he said that. They was flirting with each other. She was like, hey, Pastor, I need to come up here and talk to you. And, you... And he was like, oh, yeah. Well, can I pray for you? And she was like they caught her off guard. The vibe kind of caught her off guard. And he was like, I could tell that Miss... She was like, Tracy has been through some things and been through the mud or whatever with her love life and everything. It just been done wrong. And I pray that you doing all of that stuff to the point that it kind of touched her spirit to the point that I feel like, I don't think Tracy want that right now. I was like, Tracy was stuck like, do I want to fuck this man or do I really just want him to pray for me again? Because he's touching my spirit in a different way than I wanted him to. Next thing you know, she wound up fucking with Jackie Long character Keith. I said, excuse me. They was up at Emmy's spot. Emma's mama and Tracy just talking, and they was the last one that they was about to close. Keith come over there saying, y'all gonna have to get the fuck about because we done. And she was like, well, this Emma's mama, so, chill the fuck out. She was like, oh, my bad, don't worry about it. Emma mama was like, yeah, we gotta get up out of here anyway. It gets into this whole conversation about, oh, are you single? Because you probably got, because no, Emma mama was like, he probably got a family to go home to or whatever. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go. He said, I ain't got no family. I just came out. I ain't got nobody and all this stuff. It was like, oh, so you single? Well, she's single too. And I'm like, you know what? I really was thinking last week because everybody was smiling. Everybody was so happy. I was like, now what happened to Jackie Long's character? He came in at the end of the episodes last season and basically was threatening Emma's little brother, which I don't remember his name, threatening him because he did a bid for him. You know what I'm saying? That's just really, he was in prison because he took the rap for him. He didn't snitch on him. That's just what it was, right? And he basically said, well, nigga, you owe me and I'm gonna be on your head as long as I want to. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit, right? And so now I was like, where did he go? So, okay. Because, sometimes these shows are good for starting the storyline and just saying skip that one and don't even close it up, So, okay, yeah. They came back to him and now her and Tracy and him actually had a little decent conversation and was like, y'all want us to be all the stuff for you, but we be trying, well, we want y'all to be all the stuff for us, but us niggas don't know how to be all the stuff for y'all, because it's hard out here being a black man. And she was like, well, bitch, it's hard out here being a black woman too. Okay, and they just had that little conversation, and I just knew the vibes was there. Because then they started talking to the point where they turned the lights out on their ass. I said, well, shit, bitch. Next thing you know, they in the house fucking. Tracy said, I couldn't get these drawers up to a man of God. I had to give it up to what I'm used to, a jailbird street-ass nigga. I said, all right, Tracy, I thought you wanted to do better, but hey, you do what you got to do. That kitty was purring, and speaking of, and also Dom, and let me close out this storyline for this episode. Dom and Vic Mensa, they was at the church too, listening to that. And of course, it just so happened to coincide with what he wanted. He was saying he needed to be, sex-free until he was married. I was with Dom. How the hell are we up here listening to him talking about this when his own wife was cheating on him and fucking around with Jake little ass? Like, girl, what? And he was like, shh. But then they get home and he was like, why don't we just get married? I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay? Like, if you want to have sex, okay? We're all freaking sinners. We are not perfect. Yeah, we're made in God's image, but we are not God. And if you want to fuck around, baby, go fuck around. Just have consent and be safe with it. That's all that I say. Okay? Like, and if you can't deal with that, don't be in a relationship with somebody that is very sexually active. All right? Like, if y'all ain't on that same path, all right, come on, y'all laying in the bed and you mean to tell me your thing ain't jumping and her kitty definitely is purring. Okay? Like the way that y'all niggas sometimes be walking around and y'all be halfway on hard. Us bitches be walking around and we be juiced. We be juiced. Sometimes we get a thought and just be soaked down there a little bit. It happens. It happens. And then y'all laying in the bed and y'all good looking people. Bitch, if you don't bust that out. She was like, you just want to get married so that you can have sex. Well, yeah. Okay. I said, what the fuck? In 2025, we doing this? Girls, y'all don't get up out my face with this goddamn storyline. Moving on from that. What else is happening? Oh, yeah, let's go back to the pastor. We get to the pastor. Girl, Dre come up in there. The pastor is in there about to have sex with that white girl. He is still with that white girl. Okay. And Dre said, well, damn, bitch, if you don't want nobody, you're going to have to be more careful because the door was unlocked. And if our congregation found out that you fucking around with this white woman, we're going to lose half of them. He said, first of all, it's my congregation. And I said, oh, shit. He finna do something to take that. He finna do something to take it from right under him. I really just feel it. We already knew something like that probably was going to happen when he came back into the picture at the end of last season. It's becoming even more clear now because one, he had to clear up his mess last week, okay? And then that just kind of benefited him to where he wanted to go anyway. And then he coming in and he's seeing you doing this and he trying to tell you, break up with that girl because you could get with anybody else, but not a white woman. And not that white woman, all right? Absolutely not. We're not finna go for that, okay? Mind you, he was like, well, my divorce from my wife is over already. I said, oh, so you went on ahead and got a divorce? And that's the thing. You went on it. He went and got a divorce. I really want to understand why he got a divorce. He got the divorce because, was it because she embarrassed you because it got out that she was cheating, which technically speaking, she wasn't cheating because obviously that's the arrangement that y'all had. Because while she was out there messing around with whoever she was messing around, plus Jake, you was messing around with the white girl. So y'all both was doing stuff outside y'all marriage, which goes to show that y'all weren't doing stuff together. And that's probably an arrangement that y'all had, and that's fine. That's fine. So 9 out of 10, you divorced her because of the image and that it got out that y'all was out here sneaking around on each other. At least her, and then the fact that she did it with a young child. That's basically what it was. Because other than that, you would have stayed. You would have stayed. But yeah, I can see that shit happening. He is finna trying to take his shit from right underneath him. Moving on from that, this whole situation. Now, when the episode starts off, it starts off with a double baby shower. Because again, like I said, the episode starts off after the Reg situation. Getting off the bus and all that stuff, and then it goes to 6 months later. After that, we see that it's a double baby shower for Keisha and for Tiffany, right? And of course, Emmett is just being a dutiful dad, and dad in spirit because the other Rob is no longer here. Of course, Alicia is so happy, and we do find out that Alicia was right. Tiffany is having a boy, okay, because it was also a gender reveal. And at one point, we saw the change in little EJ, but I feel like it was more so because of the situation that's going on, and he probably don't understand what's going on. He's been staying over there with Emmett and Keisha for a minute. How old is EJ ass? I'm so sorry, because he looks like he tall, like he probably 9 years old or something like that. But he not. I know he not. He got to be younger than that. Okay? He's going to be tall. He is going to be tall. And, yeah, he's going to be tall once he get older. But yeah. And Tiffany was trying to get a hug or something like that. And I said, oh my God, what's the attitude? And Keisha had to tell him stop that or whatever. And I said, please don't have no, division happen between these two girls. Because they went through their story. They went through their times. And I like the fact that they are on good terms. They are good friends right about now. And Tiffany needs that in her corner because she is going through it. But then, Keisha told him go play with the kids. He asked could he go play with his games, and then Tiffany said, yeah, you go play with your games and all that stuff. And then he got up and he actually gave her a hug. And she was like, basically, I need you to understand that that's my child. And she was like, girl, I know that's your child, but you the one that told us to take care of his ass because you going through your stuff and he been over here for the past 6 months. Okay? She was like, I know, girl. I'm just going through it. I'm just stressed out and, all of this stuff. And that was cool. That was just what it was. Also, Emmett's other kids was there. And the baby mamas. And they're all cool now. Because at one point they couldn't stand each other. But they got together and realized that they needed to be on one accord. They needed to be each other's support system. And even Keisha is cool with them. They inviting Keisha into the club. And Keisha mentions Tiffany and said, we need to bring her in too because, she literally just lost the love of her life. Her child would not see this father. And it was like, yeah, it's so crazy having raising black kids and black sons and then, not having the baby, the father in the life or whatever because of this reason. And yeah, we're going to have to lift her up and explain the reasons why they put their differences to the side. And decided to, just come together. And then talking about how the education system is when it comes to black kids and, oh, you're acting out and all that stuff. You got this type of problem, and the whole time they probably got like ADD or they're on the spectrum or some shit. And they just got a little slight learning disability and they just need a little bit extra help. You know what I mean? And then come to find out, both Emmy kids got ADD. Them two baby mamas said, yeah, our kids got ADD. And then Keisha was like, look, EJ got something going on like that too. I said, not all the kids got ADD. I said, Emmy, what's going on? What's going on? And that ain't to be offensive or nothing, because listen, girlfriend, we all got a little something. I don't give a good goddamn what anybody say, baby. We all got a little ism in us, okay? Whether it's a little bit of anxiety, a little depression, a little ADHD up in there going on. We a little autistic somewhere, okay? We on the spectrum. We a little not neurodivergent a little bit somewhere, all right? It just may not, and some people be like, why everybody got this and everything? Because it wasn't diagnosed back in the day. They didn't have a name for it, or they wasn't checking for it, and especially not up in black people. They ain't give a damn about us. Them kids were acting up in school when we was growing up. Baby, we ain't know nothing about no goddamn autism and all that shit, because they just called us bad. Called us bad, and we be disrupting the classroom the whole time. We just learned a little different, and not me. But I'm talking about the ones that, because I was a teacher's pet. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that's just what it was. And that could be a thing. But I do know, like, for me at my adult age, I do a lot of stimming, okay? And I realize exactly what it is. And 9 out of 10, I got a little something. Y'all already know I got anxiety and I got depression. So there's that. And I'm pretty sure I got OCD. I got a mild case of OCD, okay? Very mild, but it's there. I probably got a little bit of ADHD too, okay? It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of shit just be going undiagnosed. And I said, goddamn, Emmy, all your kids got this shit? What? I said, welcome to the club, kids. But, yeah, so I did. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I like to see the little grit to it too, but I also love these positive moments about this show. And I know some people be like, oh, the shot it's not as good as it used to be. Okay, well, a lot of shows not as good as they used to be, but it's still a good show. And it still got positive aspects to it. And that's what keeps me coming back, because we don't always got to see us being so negative. We can see the negative parts, and we can also equal that shit out and see the positive. And they showing us that. But let me tell you something. Tiffany, you might want to leave the house that Alicia got you in, because Alicia is about to take over. Alicia is about to go into her Brandy mode. And if you've seen A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, you know exactly what that character is, okay? Baby, Alicia is going to use the fact that her son is no longer here to gain all the control over Tiffany's baby. She want her to name the baby Robert Jr. And she said, I already got a junior. I want him to have something else and live his own legacy. But he's my legacy, because my son is no longer here. I said, but you're living in my house. And I said, Tiffany, why don't you go ahead and call your mama and tell her, get that extra bedroom in your place ready so I can come over there, because Miss Alicia is doing a lot. And is Bianca okay? I just need an update. Did she get out, or did Alicia have her whack? Which one? Which one? And I was just like, okay. Nuck and Tiff is about to go into business again with Brenda's cousin, because he do the drug stuff or whatever, and they're gonna be selling it out the cigar place and all that stuff. Tiff was over there at work, right? The cigar lounge, and Vic was over there doing, helping clean up and all that stuff. And she was like, shit, I gotta go. And he was like, where you going? I gotta go to this birthing class, this Lamar's class, whatever. He said, you got somebody going with you? She said, no. He was like, you want me to come with you? I said, Vic, can you make it any more obvious? Meanwhile, speaking of some other shit, Gemma and Britt. Okay, so I guess this probably gonna be Gemma's last season. Whoops, my bad. That was water. I guess that's gonna be Gemma's last season. That's what it's looking like, because Gemma brings in this producer from New York, because she's still working with Britt, right? And Brittany at first was like, girl, I already told you we wasn't doing nothing like that. I was staying strictly independent. I ain't want to do no labels, no major labels, whatever. But, Jimmy still brought him in. And of course, he talking to her like, y'all act like y'all know what y'all doing, but you really don't know what you're doing. And what you need to do is stay humble and take the advice that I'm giving. Okay? Now, see what you got going on, and it could be better. And I'm telling you now, in this day and age, artists ain't making money the way that they used to make money back in the day. So y'all need to come out there to New York so we can really do this thing. Jim was like, bitch, we ain't got no money. What you mean? He said, I can get you in advance. And I just felt like, he was talking that stuff, but I just felt like they're about to get taken advantage of. It just felt like a whole bunch of they're about to get taken advantage of. Okay, like he could play them. They're gonna be on contract for a long time, and ain't shit finna happen with Britney music. And if it does, I bite my words. But I feel like somebody's about to get fucked over, and it probably is gonna be Gemma. You know what I'm saying? Because the focus was mainly on her, of course. They threw them, her and Maisha, going away party, and Brit, I guess too. And before that, Maisha did meet up, or I should say, Keisha met up with Maisha. They was talking about the fact that she's finna go out there to California, and I did love this conversation too. Because even though Kevin is her brother, she asked Maisha, are you going to go out there to California for yourself and not for my brother? Not just for my brother? Please tell me you're not going out there just for him. And she said it's for both. We want to work on this relationship, and we can't really work on it because this long distance is not working the way that we want it to. We got to be together, you know what I'm saying? But also, there's a lot of opportunity out there for me because I'm into this photography and I really like it. So I can work on that as well. And I like the fact that Keisha asked her that. Like, don't be just doing this shit for no nigga. And I don't care if the nigga's my brother. Make sure you're doing this for you too, because at the end of the day, it's not guaranteed that y'all gonna stay together, and you need to have a reason if you want to stay out there, and you can fall back and be okay if you be be out there by yourself. If you don't want to come back to Chicago, I said, you know what, Keisha, you are all right with me. You are all right with me, okay? Meanwhile, so we just ain't gonna see Nina no more. We ain't gonna see Nina no more. She ain't gonna drop in and say, like, Nina couldn't even come to the baby shower. Y'all couldn't write her in to come to the baby shower. Oh, okay. Y'all know Jessica Betts, that's Niecy Nash's wife. Y'all know her and Brett making music together. I said, come on, Shy Tizzy, both of them. I said, all right, I'm a little intrigued. But yeah, so you got that. And then they had a little party, and girl, the way Papa said, because they was like, shout out to Gemma and Brittany going out there to New York making moves, and then Papa was like, and Maisha too going out there to LA and fucking things up. I said, excuse me, I had to rewind it because I said, and I put the subtitles on because I was like, who the fuck said fucking? That was Papa. I said, Papa, when you start cussing? You were so holier than thou last week, and now you cussing? And was they drinking, or was they doing mocktails? Because I said, is that shit Peggy? Y'all ain't 21. What's going on right here, right now? I said, look at the kids. They're so grown. Like, we really watched them grow up. We really watched the kids grow up. Okay, and they're out here doing their own. Oh, and none of them are in the street, minus Jake. Okay, Jimmy and Jake had this little conversation. He was like, so you really leaving? She said, yeah. And was like, you away from me? And he was like, you want me to be honest? Can we be honest? And she was like, yeah. He said, I don't know about that. He said, well, damn, bitch, you wanted me to be honest, and I just want to be truthful. Like, that's the best gift I could give you right now. And I was like, I felt like that was what it was. And then she said, well, if you knew that's what it was, why you asked me that? Because I just wanted to know for real. I wanted the clarity. I said, oh my God. They handled that mature as fuck for them. Because, yeah, she had a little moment where she cried because she's about to leave, and they had history together. messed up a friendship, screwed over a friend to get with each other, got pregnant, lost a baby, all of that stuff, And he straight up said, hell no, I ain't finna wait for you. Honestly, I would have said the same thing. Okay, we passed waiting for each other. That nigga is fucking old ladies compared to his age and, other bitches. He is not faithful. Okay? And honestly, Gemma, you don't know what you want at this point. And I really feel like you just need to go out there to experiment. Okay? That's just really what it is. You're a little bi. You're a little bi-curious and all that stuff. You had your little tryst with him and you had your little tryst with Brittany, Now maybe you can have both of them together. You just never know. It could work out, But yeah, he said, hell no. And Papa gonna ask him, because Jake was like, you gonna miss Maisha? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna miss Maisha, of course. You gonna miss Gemma? A girl walked past him and he totally blanked out. I said, you know what, niggas. But that was the episode. I feel like I got everything. And if not, we'll discuss it next week. But I enjoyed this episode. Obviously, it's 45 minutes long. But yeah, Reg is back. Was not expecting that. Y'all tell me how y'all feeling. I'll see y'all later. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.